Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. We're here in a monochrome environment. I just thought I'd do something different. Weebob has posted a community question that took me a while to kind of grasp, and I told him it would be a bit till I have this answer for him. It's essentially top 5 or favorite 5 or any 5 scenes in movies that depict bridges or crossings, and it was very hard to come up with this list. And when I first saw his video, I was just like, this is a random choice, but he explained that when he was a kid, and I recommend you go and see his video, I'll put a link below. He explained when he was a kid there was this very short little bridge that he and his friend needed to get across, but there was busy traffic. And so he kind of like skirted along the edge of it. So it's a very big moment in his memories. So he thought there's been a lot of movies that do something similar. What are your favorite bridge or crossing related scenes? So I thought, okay, 5 of them? This is going to be tricky, but I've managed to come up with 5. So let's go with that. In no particular order, I'm going to start off with Escape from New York. In the premise of the movie, the island of New York has been turned into a maximum security prison. They block off all of the bridges and just let prisoners in there and let them all run amok. But the president gets crashed into there, so we got to get Snake Plissken in to bring the president out. Now, at the climactic bit of the film, they are on one of the bridges, I believe it's the Brooklyn Bridge, and they've got to get all the way across the bridge to where the cops are, because they've got the president with them. They've got to get him all the way across the bridge. They will lift him up, and it'll be the end of the story, and everything's good, except for the main bad guy, the Duke, and his men and his cronies are chasing after them in cars. Now, these are run-down, like, hobbling along cars. This is, even though it's a fast-ish chase, think like these guys have managed to survive on the island of Manhattan without too many resources. So yes, the cars are going along, but it's not a high-speed chase. It has some speed to it. But what's more interesting is how the sequence is done. At various points, there's gunshots going off and everything else like that. And our heroes, Snake and a couple of people in the car with the president, they lose their tires, the car smashes, so now they got to get out on foot. And Adrienne Barbeau realizes, because, and there's spoilers here, Harry Dean Stanton plays plays sort of her love interest or somebody that she had a connection with. He's dead. She's looking at the situation like the odds are stacked too far against us. I'm going to stand here as like a last outpost. You guys run ahead. I'll get him. Give me your gun. So Snake gives her a gun as a farewell moment. It's really well done, and she's shooting at the Duke's gun, as Duke's car as he's approaching. She gets killed. There's more smashes going on. Again, this is a spoiler for the end of the film, but I'm sure you've seen it by now. They do manage to get the president up, but it's up on a winch, and then it's Snake's turn, and he's got an explosive in his neck that if he doesn't hand over what is needed right away, he's going to die. And the Duke is still coming. And it's this very tense moment, and they do pull him up. But what's very interesting is that there's this ramp up of the music. I believe it was John Carpenter who wrote the music itself. There's this ramp up of the music that goes on and on and on, and it's in a constant crescendo. It is an amazing sequence, considering the time. This is not a high-budget Hollywood production. It has a great cult following, and we love it nowadays. But back then, it was kind of a middling budget type of experience. It was one of Kurt Russell's first attempts at like a serious action role. John Carpenter was not a very well-established director, so you have middle tier orchestration going on, a lot of synthesizer doing this work, but my God, does it reach beyond its capability. Like, it is doing incredible work. The music is lifting up the sequence into this hierarchy of incredible stress, incredible strain. It's a really iconic moment in movies to do with a bridge, so that's got to be in the list. My next one, to go quite a wide difference here, go 180 on this one. My next choice has got to be, because I love Monty Python, it has to be The Bridge of Death from the Search for the Holy Grail. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right at the end, it's The Bridge of Death. Not much of a bridge. It's this very scantily thrown together little rope bridge. And you have to, in order to cross the bridge, you have to answer the wizard's questions 3. And it's a very iconic scene, a lot of laughs. Everybody loves it. If you haven't seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, please check it out. Love that movie, love that scene. It's one of the pivotal moments of the whole show, and I really love that bit. That one's got to go in there. I was thinking along the lines of also doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because there's a similar rope bridge from the Bridge of Doom or the Bridge of Death for Monty Python, but I thought, nah, that's repeating myself. I'm not going to go with an easy one like that. So, and I'm sure many people are going to use Indiana Jones, so I'm not going with that one. Instead, I'll talk about how The Bridges of Madison County, when that movie came out, it has a funny little story between me and my sister. My sister might do a video review, may have already done one. Video response to Wee Bob, I mean. So when The Bridges of Madison County came out, it was getting a lot of critical acclaim. Everybody loved it. Clint Eastwood is back, and Meryl Streep is just knocking it out of the park with yet another performance. It's a real tearjerker, very adult drama film. So the kind of thing you don't really get in theaters nowadays, which is unfortunate. But I remember thinking to myself, oh, I'm totally going to watch that. And it missed me in the theaters. That's fine. It's out on videotape. I can rent it from Blockbuster. And I had intended to do so. And my sister was just like, yeah, whatever you do, let me know. I wouldn't mind seeing that because I kind of missed it as well. And years went by. We kept sort of thinking, oh, maybe we'll rent The Bridges of Madison County. It never happened. I think a decade went by. And there was one afternoon, we happened to be hanging around and thinking, let's go rent a movie. And I was just like, you know what we never did was to rent The Bridges of Madison County, or else I saw it on my own. I can't remember, but I finally saw the film, and I think my sister did a little while later, or a little bit before. And we kind of got in touch with each other. We were just like, I finally saw The Bridges of Madison County. Yeah, me too. Finally, a decade later. So that movie has to go into this list here because it was a movie that was very well done. It's got bridges, hello. But it has a funny kind of connection for me because we never did get to see it until much later. For number 4, I think I'll go with Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. There's a very important bit in there. Well, it's not important, but it sparked joy in me. There's a sequence where the paladin has taken our group of misfit adventurers into a dungeon. It's when the big dragon is about to attack. And he goes into a very elaborate discussion about this bridge that is over a lava pit, I think, or a chasm. And he says, okay, this is a very important place. We have to be careful. There are a paragraph or two of rules and restrictions and things going on here. And Almar, the sorcerer apprentice wannabe, is going, right, okay, very important, yes. And he steps back, and when he steps on the floor plate, it causes the entire bridge to collapse. And he takes his foot off the plate like, oh, sorry. And that made many of us who have played Dungeons & Dragons laugh out loud because the movie has some very good connections to those of us who play because that stuff happened all the time. There were many things our Dungeons Master would have prepared thinking, okay, this is a big dramatic bit and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then we would fumble in, not knowing anything, and we would set stuff off. We would go in the wrong direction. We would misinterpret. Oh, right, he said that, so we're going to go over there. Like, Dungeons & Dragons was an amazing experience for the point of view that you have what the DM intends to happen, and then the players mess it up. Always happens all the time. So when Almar steps on that floor plate and causes the bridge to collapse, and he's kind of like, oops. We had so many oops moments in our campaign that I completely related to that scene in the movie, and I thought, yeah, that's an iconic bridge sequence for me. For my 5th choice, I'm going to go a little outside of the norm. Wee Bob says it can be just a crossing, doesn't have to be a bridge. And in this movie, it is turned into a bridge magically. I'm going to go with Tron. And the final sequence, and I don't mean Jeff Bridges, that's not the bridge connection. Toward the end of the film, they're on the Solar Sailor, and they're being pursued by Sark and his big battle cruiser. And there is an energy pulse coming down the wave. I think Sark has decided he's going to make this beam, or this bolt of electricity is going to knock the Solar Sailor into being disabled or whatever. So what does Kevin Flynn do? He reaches down and he forms a connection because he sees another beam that they're going near, and he actually readjusts the Solar Sailor up to another level. There is a crossing that occurs in that scene, and it was then they managed to get away, or at least that foils Sark's plans for a bit. I thought there was a line of dialogue. I tried looking it up before filming this. I thought there was a line of dialogue when Flynn is just exhausted and he says something like, "Energy can never be destroyed, it can only be redirected," or something. I couldn't find the line, but that is sort of the band-aid of the plot of, like, this is how I managed to do this with my magical powers. Since I'm a user and godlike in this world, I can redirect this power. And they managed to continue on. I thought, yeah, that's a crossing, as opposed, he forms a bridge with his arms, Jeff Bridges. If you want to use that as like it seems like a bit of a cheat, but I'm going to go for it. So there we go. There are my 5 bridges and crossings scenes from movies for Wee Bob. I'm going to, again, put a link below to Wee Bob's video. Please give him answers yourself. He always enjoys doing these community questions, and I enjoy answering. I'm going to leave it there. So until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.